Hi everyone, thank you for joining our Black Friday Cybermind Teardown 2022 Nordics edition. My name is Rasmus Holsti. I'm a partner manager here at Clevel, and Clevel is a AI product discovery solution. And today we're gonna spend some time delving into Black Friday, some Cyber Monday with some experts, which I'm super excited to have on the call. 2022 has been a rocky year to say the least, and we're now living looming recession. It seems like they almost forgotten COVID era, which all has affected e-commerce in one way or another. But however, towards apparently as Black Friday hit new heights across many regions, and today we're gonna break that down. Great to be joined by three experts really in the e-commerce industry, and I think could be good to have a quick introduction to our expert panelists. And I'll just start with you, Robin.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Robin. Yeah, so I'm Robin, work in Sweden for Columbus. We are a system integrator. We deliver e-commerce and PIM solutions, and yeah, been doing that for quite a few years now. So happy to be on the call.
Did you, Robin, buy by the way something yourself during Black Friday?
I did. I have a family of 3 kids, so I bought something for them, I believe. Did some early Christmas shopping, and then I also found something for myself. So yeah, for sure.
That sounds good. I was supposed to do my Christmas shopping as well during Black Friday, but I forgot about it. So mostly just to myself. But thank you, Robin. Next we have Artūrs. Would you mind giving a quick introduction yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm CEO and co-founder of Magebit. We are pretty much an agency that takes care of everything related to e-commerce. So from development to design and everything in between. Yeah, happy to join this Black Friday, Cyber Monday teardown. Yeah.
Cool, awesome. How about, did you buy anything during Black Friday?
Not really on the Black Friday. I did buy something like a coat on Cyber Monday, but it was kind of accidental to say. So didn't plan on anything, but turned out to buy a coat for a great deal.
Yeah, good discounts. That's what they tend to do. They drag you in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And then last but not least, we have Mikko.
Hey, good to see you. My name is Mikko Rekola. I'm working at Woolman. We are Europe's largest Shopify Plus partner and Shopify's Innovator of the Year. My title is Chief Evangelist. I help our customers to succeed and was assisting kind of many during the Black Friday. Good to be here.
Thank you, Mikko. And finally, too, as well, did you manage to find any good deals?
Well, a few gifts here and there, but it's still a secret before Christmas, so who knows?
Sounds good. Cool. No, but thank you all for joining. Just jumping straight into it, really. Just did you see anything special this Black Friday or / Cyber Monday? Anything that was out of the ordinary that you didn't expect, or anything you did expect that happened? If I start with Robin, did you have any kind of those stories that you saw?
I think for us, we found some statistics within the Nordics. It was some talks earlier, kind of moving up to Black Friday week, if you may. Stats were kind of showing that we were going towards a lower peak on Black Friday, so not be able to match last year's figures, but then it turned out to be somewhat of a totally combining channels. It was actually better than expected. So that was one effect. And another one we saw what some of the pure players, they had actually added some extra freight costs to cover up for some of the sales on high ticket items and so on. So either increasing thresholds for granting that free shipping, or actually adding freight cost on the particular stores that you tend to shop by. You saw that they have added these freight costs. That's two pointers to address into this.
Thank you. How about Artūrs? Did you see anything, out of the ordinary?
I wouldn't say out of the ordinary. There were many things that we anticipated that would happen that did, but like adding to what Robin said, we also saw that some companies not only added like shipping cost, but also like tried to separate their customers into two groups. So basically, somebody who needs something really fast, so they added like free shipping with a longer time to delivery, and for like paid shipping, you would still have the original shipping times. Therefore, they can basically smoothen their operations so they can ship out goods without any struggles.
Cool, thank you, makes sense. And how about you, Mikko? I know that Woolman tends to work with a lot of direct-to-consumer brands. Did you notice anything similar to what Robin and Artūrs mentioned?
Yep, I would agree on these guys, but probably like three things I could mention. Number one was that the campaign started earlier than ever, and it lasted longer than ever. So that's definitely a change. Quite many started already sometime early November, or kicked it off at least earlier than that. In my position, when I look at the dates and data, typically not that many years ago, it was just like 1 to 3 days. Now it seems to be a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's definitely one change. Then the second one that is very obvious from data that we see is that the sale of services, that it's not only about physical goods, but we saw a crazy increase in services. It can be that it's only a service or it's a hybrid. So you're buying a physical product and some additional service. So I guess like in the Nordics, we are pioneering in that as well. I think that's super interesting. And then the last part, which people typically ask me, that how did we do? How did Finland do? How did Sweden do? So in our stats, Finland did better than last year. When it comes to our customers, Sweden did better than last year. But this is all, of course, like case by case. What we also noticed is that there was much less orders in terms of the figure of actual orders, but people ordered more at once. So that was also a trend.
Okay, yeah. I think that's interesting that, the number of deals were lesser, but more being bought at once. And I think that's kind of in line with also the reports that I read from around the world that Black Friday seems to do like new records, which is interesting. And again, considering that, we have the prices are just skyrocketing at the moment, it seems. But still, it did very well Black Friday. But I'm not sure if do you consider that would be more to, I don't know, compensate maybe for remaining of the year, or people are just waiting for these crazy discounts to do their actual shopping?
I think it can be like either or, and probably even both. But what we also notice in the Nordics is that some of the brands have been communicating that please order once and order that big full box. So it's more sustainable and it's probably better for the environment. So that's at least something that might affect customers' behavior. And also the fact that quite many have been waiting for these orders. As I was talking about the whole season with our growth team, who is like dedicating and helping our customers, they say that quite many were also waiting until Friday because people expect that you get still the best deals on Friday, although based on data that's not anymore the case. But I think that also might summarize why people wait for so long.
Yeah. How did you, Robin, did you see anything in Sweden that was a very successful Black Friday / Cyber Monday in the terms of goods being sold compared to last year? Or
yeah, I mean we saw some similar trends. I mean we have seen sort of a pandemic push moving towards getting all the sales into the online channel, and now things are moving, are opening up again, and people are visiting the regular brick and mortar stores. So the retailers that we work with, as I mentioned earlier, they're on a total aggregate. They combining channels. Black Friday was a huge success, but now people are actually using the online channels to validate stock, and then actually going to physical stores to more utilizing the click and collect services and so on. So some of the retailers that we worked with had a huger increase in the click and collect services, utilizing the both channels in a good way. So that's for sure something that we've seen. So now it's kind of moving back a little bit to the omni-channel approach being combining of the channels. So I think that's an interesting finding as well. And yeah, I think for the largest retailer that we work with, they have been just sharing on the Black Friday in general. They have been preparing just to make sure all these services are there to tailor for their solutions. So they gather in a war room, they prepare, have a dashboard to overlook all their services, make sure all the entire solution as well as the third party services is ready and scalable to handle the incoming traffic, because now people are not just buying online, but as I mentioned, they are also finding out if stock availability and so on is up to date. So all the services need to tailor also for the offline experience. So that was interesting, and it seemed to work well for them. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I think for me, when always on like Black Friday, the first thing is actually the experience. I encountered many times where either the site is slow, you're entering into a queue, which is a horrible experience, anything like that. So how would you guys go about with your clients to actually prepare, peak season like this? I know, for example, Magebit, you guys work with many big brands, pretty much, I would say, probably around the world. So is there anything special you guys do in order to actually prepare for this?
Well, there's like the split. You need to prepare for operations, and you need to prepare for the technical. For the technical, I would say agencies is your best friend at this time to like take care of everything. Agencies do take care of the technical, and what we usually do is for heavier campaigns offer like on-demand assistance. So we have somebody, like if something goes down, if we monitor data and see something out of the ordinary, where we have developers that know the project with everything ready to jump into it within like a minute or so. So that's really helpful as not necessarily like a plan B, but just to be sure that the technical doesn't disrupt all your marketing and sales efforts. And in terms of the operational, that part is something that we, like agencies, can assist you with, but in essence, the ones fulfilling the orders need to pay close attention. What are their stock levels? How will they fulfill when orders don't come in, let's say throughout the whole Friday, but they are batched like many, as we've seen in the morning or right after work. So they're like peak periods. Like if we take care of the technical, we can give customers the data to understand how the operational stuff could look like, and they need to ensure that they can fulfill all the orders and ship everything on time.
Cool, thank you. How do you guys, Mikko over at Woolman, see? Do you have a similar experience or?
But I guess we are slightly different. We are somewhat blessed. We didn't have any war rooms, haven't had any technical issues 5+ years. So sort of like Shopify can hold it up. So our role is more commercial during this kind of a campaign. What we notice more and more is that our brands want to also add new items during the campaign and A/B test stuff there. So it could be that still on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or even Monday, they will add more items. And some had the campaign running all the way until Tuesday morning, and they were still adding items there. So they can more like monitor the situation, look at their stock, and come up with campaigns that would work. And I think that that's more of the future of campaigning, that you don't make the decision like 3 months prior that these are the goods and let's go, but you have the basic goods, but then you might have some that you can still use if you require like more fuel for your campaign. So I think that's super interesting, and it's also a role where I like to be. So I think like the commercial role is super interesting, and definitely agree what gentlemen just say, that running campaigns is good if you get some assistance from the agencies. And probably the best part is that an agency can see so many cases at the same time that we can then react or give some recommendations on what's going on.
Cool, thank you. How about, did you see any particular industry that performed surprisingly well or expectedly well? Anything like that? If I start with you, Robin.
Rather the opposite. I see some of the more luxury brands were actually struggling a little bit. Maybe that's not our core subject, but I read on reports and similar in Sweden at least, that people were kind of less willing to buy those premium luxury items. But regular some other industries were doing well. We also have Amazon entering. They entered actually around Black Friday last year, and their launch was horrible, and then they've had this full year to actually kind of recover. So now they have done better. So I know I personally shopped on Amazon, and I know a few peers of mine have done the same. So I think they've obviously moved into kind of the fast-moving consumer goods and some of the kids categories as well, with toys and so on. So I think that also we've seen has affected some of the traditional pure players within e-commerce in Sweden, at least.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And but how about Mikko? Did you see anything in let's say in Finland, anything that would or perform better than other areas?
Totally. We were very surprised by CPG, so consumer packaged goods, mainly also like consumables, that did extremely well, and the merchants were like very surprised at what the heck, it really like paid off, and quite many were struggling with the warehouse because there were so high peaks in orders. Same goes also with Sweden, what we can tell, and also Denmark and Norway. So probably when people are so price sensitive, when you got like good offers on consumables, then you were ordering like 10 or 15 or whatever, you went like all in. So that was definitely a change if I compare to previous years. And then also like what sort of like surprised us was especially like clothing and outdoor clothing, active clothing. We were a bit doubtful beforehand, but that did like extremely well. It also might have to do that at least in the Nordics there was this snowstorm happening, and people were probably like gearing up for the winter, so the timing was perfect, which might have helped the sales. And overall, we see that our customers did fairly well. There were a few categories which well like let down, sort of like biking and cycling, perhaps a category that was already pretty full and people were stacking up during the pandemic. So that didn't go according to the plan, but still they did fairly well when it comes to cash flow.
They're unmuted. Did any of you see that, with sort of, it feels like we're starting to live more and more in a COVID-free world, even though it's still around us. But did you see that physical stores, did they, how to say it, eat up anything more from e-commerce, or did you see that affecting it in any way?
I love the question because most of our brand customers are running on Shopify, both in physical life and online. So we can follow the sales in that single platform. We have even a data management platform called Ellis, where we can do a like hybrid modeling on that. So what we noticed that some of the customers in some brands were operating slightly more in the physical life. And when you look at data, Sunday was especially good day for the physical life, especially in Finland and Sweden for some reason. So people went then out and about and started to shop on that Sunday. So that there was a definite spike in the physical life. And then when I looked at data very carefully, there were also lots of customers who shopped in both. You order some things which you need rapidly, maybe from the physical life, and then you order online stuff that is for Christmas or whatever. So I think that's also an interesting trend. But overall, I wouldn't say that when I look at the data, there are no big surprises, or when I read from media that people only shop in shopping centers or whatever, isn't exactly true, at least according to the data sets that I see. And I also walked on Black Friday in Helsinki's biggest shopping centers and malls, very quiet. So I think that was somewhat interesting as well.
Cool. How about Artūrs or Robin? Do you share the thoughts of Mikko, or did you see anything else?
I would say completely agree with Mikko. Like the data we have, we typically focus on the e-commerce data. We don't look that deeply into like the brick and mortar stores, because many of our customers don't even have them. But I would say similar. I wasn't during the Black Friday in the shopping malls, but Cyber Monday was quite calm there. So I expect a pretty similar case also during the Black Friday. So I would say totally agree with Mikko.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we found that shopping malls was still kind of busy. I mean, as we kicked off this conversation earlier on, I mean, the sale has been kind of prolonged, and this is covering a week or up to 2 weeks. So I think people weren't necessarily waiting until the Friday or weekend to go to shopping malls or even do their online shopping. But I agree with what Mikko was saying. I mean, I shared a similar experience. The things I needed now, I went to shopping malls to get, and the things I could wait for Christmas, I went to the online store. So I'm a typical example of making those consumer behaviors. So guilty as charged.
That's good. How do you guys think it's to me it's always interesting, because Black Friday, it used to be Black Friday essentially, but it feels like it's getting longer and longer. As you, Mikko, mentioned earlier, it starts like in early November, now it goes all the way down, and now it's the Christmas season. After that is after Christmas, keeps on going. So how do you see like the next, I don't know, coming weeks going? Will we just see a more continuous trend of this, where it's just discounts after discounts, or what do you think will happen?
I think for us in Sweden, we find that this is just the beginning. This kind of kicks off the end of this year, and then kind of it's the start of the upcoming sales period of Boxing Day and Christmas is obviously a big Christmas sales period, and then January sales tend to be just around the corner. Sometimes the items they've stocked up during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they use that as well to get rid of it in the January sale and so on. So I think we will see a lot of these sales going on, at least the clients that we work with from an omnichannel perspective, because some of the stores are actually fulfillment hubs for the online as well. So in the bigger cities, you have stores that actually can be used as fulfillment centers. So if they're still overstocked, they will try to push for the same or similar deals in January and so on.
Yeah, and I can also add to Robin. Like, I completely agree with the fact that basically it will happen. We've seen it also in the past, and my take is that I think that the biggest discounts would still happen during like the Black Friday week, because then the mass market is basically hyped up to have the greatest discounts. But still, companies stock up goods. They don't sell out everything for particular products, and they want to get rid of them because they might not be relevant or even good the next year. So they will, for select items, give maybe even bigger discounts. But like general, the looking at the whole catalog, I would say the Black Friday week was the biggest, and then the sales continue like. I would say end of the year, but maybe also, as Robin said, like early next year as well.
Yeah, I think that's interesting points, and also companies stocking up their products probably more during this period, and it's probably important to get those goods moving as well. Do you find that many clients get stuck with these overflown products, but then they have to make room for new products coming in? How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I know coming from the customer side myself, I know some industries have their season items or their line of items. They actually so around March, April are actually changing out. So within consumer electronics, the year kind of ends March, April. So their old line needs to be cleared before the new line is kind of entered. So they need to free up cash flow and so on. And then in ski outdoor equipment, etc., the kind of season where they sell out the current line, that's kind of almost to an end, so they need to kind of get rid of that stock because to free up and get the new lines in. So I think those are two industries that really will push for getting these items out the door actually. So yeah, probably see some heavy campaigns in those segments at least for the next coming months, I would say.
And what would you, I guess if you start with Mikko, what would you say that going into 2023, what should retailers really focus on for the upcoming year?
Well, I think it's a super good question. I could like define our customers to two different categories. One is like retail chains. What I heard from them and looking at their figure, quite many have like excess stock. So they need to get rid of that. And quite many are also aiming to be as profitable as possible. The environment when it comes electricity, Ukraine war, or whatever, there are things that they are concerned about. But I think like there are many business analysts who are still feeling that retailers have a good position on the market, but they would just need to understand the customers better if their purchase behavior is changing. What I already have understood from talking to our like retail chain customers is that customers have been in some cases like swapping goods to more inexpensive items, which is a behavior all change. And that's something that we see a lot, and then that's something where the merchants and teams should be active and trust on data as well. Then when I look at our like main customer profiles, which are like D2C brands that are selling omni-channel, and some have even their own retailers. Maybe like one thing is to understand that other retailers ordering as many goods as they have in the past, at least in Finland, not in Sweden, pretty much the same level, what I've learned. But when it comes to their own channels, to really understand that how to keep the customers. I know that quite many are afraid that what will happen, especially in January and February, and what should I do? So you should probably have some scenarios on what to plan, what to do. If something happens, as example, your sales are dipping a lot, then what to do? What kind of campaign should you run? What kind of encouragement should one have? And being as a human being myself, of course, it's very risky if someone would like, as example, cut down the electricity or whatever else, then you are not probably looking at online shopping. You have other preferences, although that has already been really good business for some of our customers, that they have been selling items which would then be beneficial in that situation. But if you would ask that, how do I have a crystal ball? Then no, but probably like trusting on data and having few scenarios for the cold winter. I think that would be my advice.
Thank you, Mikko. How about you, Robin? Do you have any advice also for merchants going into the next year?
I think, I think in general, trying to build for that omni-channel experience. I mean, as some of sharing some of our clients, there's been decoupling these monolithic solutions into separate microservices and actually allowing them to support offline channels as well. I think that even more important in the future. I mean, we've been to trade fairs and other kind of retail shows and so on, and there's always these talk about metaverse and all of that stuff. But I think focusing on getting the basics work, that's the primary objective, I would say, because there's still so many details within retail that you need to figure out. And I think enabling these services and make it scale and make it trustworthy, so consumers can actually trust stock data and pricing services and so on, so to make sure there is this unified experience across channels. I think that's going to be a key differentiator. There's still so much that separates brands between each other. So I'd say that's a focus area I would shout out.
Thank you, Robin. And finally, Artūrs, same question to you. Do you have anything special to add to these?
Nothing special. Mikko and Robin already mentioned the two keywords, omnichannel and data. Those are really, really important. And to add something extra that's not just a copy-paste of what Robin and Mikko said, I would say don't underestimate also the preparation phase, which is incredibly valuable. Sometimes even starting some discounts or sales periods early. For example, what we see with Black Friday happening every year, it starts slightly faster. So yeah, I would say prepare, integrate omnichannel, and focus on data and make data-driven decisions. So that would be the keys to success, I would say.
Thank you. A final question, I'll just leave this on the floor for you to answer it however you wish. How do you think e-commerce will fare in 2020? We see a continued rise in e-commerce sales, or will we start to see a decrease and slow growth?
It's a tricky one. I think as a whole, the e-commerce industry will keep growing, I believe. Maybe a slight setback from the pandemic push, you could say, but as a whole, I think it will continue growing. Maybe not even up to last year's sales, but if you look back from say a 3 or 5 year period, you can still see an online growth, I would say, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we're actually 1 minute over time. Thank you all of you very much for joining, and special thanks to Mikko, Robin, and Artūrs for sharing your thoughts and ideas today. Very thankful of your time, and hope everyone enjoyed the session. Thank you all very much, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. Take care.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.